after a good meal, she can have a smoke and enjoy that. So it's her little pleasure and joy in life. So, and but don't do that, and what you're going to gain is better health, a longer life, et cetera, et cetera. Her language isn't that way. It's I'm giving something up versus I'm gaining a ton of wellness and better well-being and healthy whatever.
I have a flip.
It's so powerful.
I was going to say, I have a flip way of looking at it, because I think too many people get caught up on what somebody else should be doing to be healthier. And somebody who may be smoking, easy judgment for us as family members to say.
Yeah, don't do that.
But
right.
On the flip side, she could have really good eating habits, working out all of the time. I mean,
yes,
we don't know.
I got it, right.
Working out all the time, it could be the stress reliever that she gets that is a healthy cause. And I'm not saying that smoking is healthy,
right.
But what as society we do, this is going back to judgment, judgment of yourself and judgment of others, is we're not standing in that person's shoes. Yeah. We see a very, very small piece. It's almost like a sliver of what their world is all about.
Absolutely.
So for a moment, every time, and this is something, to get into the habit of doing, jump into that other person's shoes.
Right.
Just step there for a moment and see what their world might look like. And the same thing for yourself. When you go to judge yourself, stop for a moment and get back into your own shoes and say, why do I believe this? Where does this come from? And it probably goes back, it will go back to childhood.
Oh, absolutely. Of course. Well, what's funny, going back to hoping things are perfect and being a certain way, and when that doesn't happen, it obviously can be very depressing. And I'll be really honest with you. I woke up this morning really kind of depressed and kind of sad for a lot of different reasons, and I was very grumpy and having a little bit of a pity party. And then,
how was that party? I wasn't invited to it.
No, I was party one. Yeah, it was party one. I mean, it was literally.
Next time you want to throw a pity party, make sure you invite me.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I basically, hit the snooze button, didn't want to get out of bed, the whole 9 yards. And what happened was, it's my oldest daughter is almost out of school, and she's having finals the next couple days. And she's a good student, but some of her grades are really on the border. So we've been putting some pressure on her to make sure she does well on her finals. Well, I was doing some work stuff, and I decided to look at some of the results of her classes, and she brought one of her grades. In the beginning of the year, she had a D, and she brought it all the way up to a B, which was good. And it wasn't, and she was right on that border between B and C, and she brought that up to. She brought it up to a B because she did it good enough on the final. That just shifted my whole pity party.
Yeah.
I mean, it shifted. I mean, I actually even texted a friend of mine and said, they were like, how's your day going, blah, blah. And I was like, it started crappy, but, I decided to say, F it, I'm just going to have a great day anyway. So sometimes it's like just the smallest, tiniest thing can shift it. And it's just like, you end up realizing how blessed you are and how grateful you are, and as soon as you make that shift, you're like, well, this is huge, to being able to get back to that right mindset. So I feel like I'm pretty cyclical, and I go through phases of being, struggle and effort, and I'm thinking about that to other times where I'm on my pinnacle, I'm up there, and I'm in a great space. And I ping pong back and forth. Right now, I personally feel like I'm kind of in a down area right now, which is fine, which is totally cool in a way for this show. Because
you've gone through all that. I mean, bring us up to speed, because this last week has been a lot.
Yeah, my daughter, last Saturday, this is a good story to tell. Last Saturday, I was busy around the house, and I was disconnected from the family, and my wife was concerned with my daughter's jaw. It was like swelling up, and I didn't notice it too much on Friday night, but by Saturday, it was noticeable. Mm-hmm. And my wife thought it was a tooth, so she took her to a dentist, and the dentist just gave her a small dose of amoxicillin. So what then happened was on Monday she had a tooth pulled, and it never got better. And then by Thursday of this past Thursday, she ended up in the emergency room for the second time. Mm-hmm. And then they took her by ambulance Thursday night to Children's Hospital. And then essentially she's been in the hospital up until today. Wow. And they never really found out what it was. Other than they found it was a staph infection, it probably didn't have anything to do with the tooth. Mm-hmm. And the sad thing was I really beat myself up over that on a couple different levels, mm-hmm. because I thought to myself, my gut feeling on Saturday, not the Saturday before, my gut feeling was it didn't have anything to do with the tooth. Mm-hmm. And so, but I ignored my intuition, and I was too busy working in the yard, digging holes, playing in the mud, whatever it was that I did, that I wasn't present for my family and what was up with my daughter. And so I allowed my wife to take my daughter to the dentist, and it's just like, a mechanic is going to try to fix things with a wrench. A carpenter is going to try to fix things with a hammer. Well, a dentist is going to look at something and say, oh, it's a tooth. That tooth has to go. And so in my mind, I think we took her to the wrong doctor. And so I kind of beat myself up over that. And she was in a lot of pain, but she's got a high pain tolerance, so she wouldn't let anybody know. So the sad thing is, this child had to go through all that, and I learned a lot about myself along the way, and I learned a lot about the healthcare system along the way as well. And what I found was Friday morning she had to have surgery, and they had to put like a little drain in there to try to get out whatever infection there was, and so when she went into surgery, two people that I admire as being like kind of energy medicine type of people contacted me just out of nowhere. One person, I don't know if you know Tori Michael, mm-hmm. she's kind of clairvoyant. Yeah. Allie was literally in surgery, and Tori called me. Yeah. She's like, hey, what's going on? She totally was tuned in. I told her what was happening, and she said, well, when people have infections or swelling around their jaw or their face or their mouth area, it's usually because someone is having a hard time expressing emotion. And so I'm thinking, okay, I've had there's been a lot of tension in my house lately. My daughter is picking up on that. Mm-hmm. And
she's also, am I correct that she's your daughter that has a disability?
Yeah, she's got mild CP, yeah.
So
some learning delays and things like that.
And what you find is that most kids on that, and that have a disability, are even more sensitive to the energy.
Yes.
So, and this was getting kind of woo wooey for everybody, but and what I heard you say going back is that you had this intuition, you had this gut feeling that you've been beating yourself up with.
Right.
So what I tell people is we all have intuition. We're all intuitive. It's how we choose to listen to that intuition and allow it to guide us. And that only comes from trusting ourselves, which comes from confidence, which comes from commitment.
Wow. All right, I got to write that down.
So,
commitment, trust, confidence.
So what so many people will say is we all have the answers within us.
Yeah.
Everything that we are seeking for and looking for is within us. We have that inner GPS system that guides us to exactly where it is. Your intuition are your feelings.
Right.
Your feelings guide you.
Right.
If you suppress those feelings, you won't be able to be guided.
Right.
If you don't allow those feelings to come out, So what happens in adulthood is we've had things happen to us growing up and even as adults that we've suppressed.
Right.
And when we suppress those things, we can't feel.
Right.
Or our feelings are confusing.
Well, we stuff other things on top of it.
Yep.
So we're just numb to it, basically.
Right. So a lot of us are walking around numb.
Very numb.
To the world.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
I was out not so long ago, and the real cute waitress, young, 20 maybe, I go, well, let's see what your ink is. And she had a tattoo, and it's just pretty girl. And I said, what's it say? It says, comfortably numb. And I'm like, and obviously lyrics from a Pink Floyd song, but I was like, you're too beautiful to feel that way, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that's so sad, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how.
And I think that what you've gone through in this last week with your daughter is learning how, because you delve into so much of the Eastern medicine philosophy that can be really woo-woo-y, spiritual, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
And there's almost like this battle that society is in. Is it Eastern medicine? Is it Western medicine? And which one's right or wrong? And I think what you learned through this last week is that you almost need both.
Integration.
Yeah.
I definitely want to talk a bit more about this.
Okay.
I think we have a break in
I think
about
we
a minute.
have to, yeah.
But I do want to expand upon everything that you just said on the other side of this break, because I want to share some more stuff that I was experiencing during the surgery and after the surgery. And okay, people, I'm going to warn you, I'm going to open up to where I was.
Good.
And it's good stuff.
Good. Okay. Well, we'll be back. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to give us a call. 314-714-4200. You are here with David Ketraside, Awaken with DK.
Awesome.